Good, y'all. It's your boy Wavy. Stay Wavy TV back at y'all with some boxing news. Let's talk about the fight that happened this past Saturday between Richardson Hitchins and George Kambosos. First off, congratulations to Richardson Hitchins. I was able to watch the entire fight, and I have to say that I was impressed, right? Going into this fight, I thought that George Kambosos was going to pull off the upset and beat Richardson Hitchins, and boy was I wrong. So I got to eat crow for that. I was wrong. And I was impressed by Richardson Hitchins. I was very impressed. I love how he used his jab. I love how he was going to the body. I love the fact that he stopped Kambosos with a body shot. And he did such a good job, on the back foot. Like, George was actually walking down Hitchins for like the first, 4 rounds of the fight. And even though Hitchins was going backwards, it's like everything he threw was connecting at Kambosos' face. Like, guys, what happened to George Kambosos' defense? Like, it's almost as if he went into this fight not working on defense at all. Like, every single jab that Hitchins threw hit George's face. And it was pissing me off because I'm watching this fight and I'm like, yo, why is George Kambosos using his face to block punches? You know what I'm saying? Like I even had to question myself as a boxing fan, and I was like, what made me actually think that George was gonna win this fight? And you know what made me think he was gonna win this fight? The fact that he beat Teofimo Lopez, right? But then I found out that this fight happened at 140 pounds, and I immediately noticed that George looks so small in that ring compared to Richardson Hitchins. Like, when you look at Richardson Hitchins, he can easily move up to 147 pounds, right? Like, he called out Devin Haney, and I could actually see him moving up to 147 to fight Devin Haney because he has the body for it, right? Like, Hitchins is an athletic dude, very muscular. And when you look at George Kambosos, I mean, he looked like a little boy in that ring with Hitchins. Like, the guy has no muscles. He's super lean, damn near skinny. And his punches just have no power. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, watching that fight last night, like, it made me think to myself, how the hell did George Kambosos, drop Teo? So I went back and I watched the fight with George and Teo. And the reason why George Kambosos was able to drop Teo and win that fight is because Teo came into that fight very cocky, very arrogant. And in the ring, Teo was being super aggressive, throwing crazy wild punches because he was just going too hard trying to knock out George, and George was able to counter him and drop his ass, right? Now that was a close fight between George and Teo, right? George, he only won by split decision. And to the people out there making all these excuses saying that Teo had asthma and he had COVID and Teo had the chicken pox and Teo, he had pneumonia. Stop making excuses for a grown-ass man. The minute that Teo decided to walk in that ring and take the fight, there's no excuse. The same way that y'all call out Devin Haney for fighting Ryan when he came in overweight and he ended up getting dropped 4 or 5 times, keep that same energy with Teofimo Lopez, right? Don't come out here and say, oh, well, you can't blame Ryan for coming in overweight because Devin Haney took the extra money. You're right. You are 100% right. You're 100% right? So don't make excuses for Teo for stepping into that ring and, he lost to George, right? It was a close fight. It could have went either way, in my opinion. It should have been a draw. Like, if I was to be 100% honest, I think that fight should have been a draw. But I'm not mad if they give it to either fighter by split decision because it was a close fight, which is why I personally wanted Teo to get a rematch with George Kambosos. You feel me? But at this point, George has like 4 losses now, right? He lost to Devin Haney twice in Australia. He got stopped by Lomachenko. And now he has a loss to Richardson Hitchins. And some people feel like he lost against Mark Hughes or whoever that guy was that he fought, So with that being said, I want to see Hitchins versus Teo next. I don't want to see Hitchins versus Devin Haney right now. I want to see it, but I don't think it should be the next fight for Hitchins because, number one, Devin Haney is not at 140 anymore. Devin Haney is at 147. Hitchins is at 140. And Teofimo Lopez is still at 140. And he has a belt at 140. So go after a champion. Get yourself a belt. Go after Teo. Remember, Teo pulled up to the fight, right, to pretty much challenge Hitchins for a fight. You know, if he won a fight, whether George won or Hitchins won, his plan was to pretty much challenge the fighter for his next fight. So Teo showed up to the fight. Teo went inside of the ring to call out Richardson Hitchins. And I want to see this fight next. Let's get it. Teofimo Lopez versus Richardson Hitchins. I think this would be a great fight, right? Hitchins was able to stop the guy that beat Teo. And this is a chance for Teo to show people that George Kambosos' loss was a fluke. You know, if Teo can beat Hitchins in a dominant fashion, then we can't use that George excuse anymore. You know, we can't, because it's proven that at this point, George Kambosos, he's not that guy, right? He's lost too many fights at this point for like I'm not going to lie, bro. Like, George Kambosos is no longer a braggable win for Devin Haney. Like, as a Devin Haney fan, we can't ever brag about Devin Haney beating George twice. Now, I will say this. Devin Haney did beat George Kambosos while he was undefeated, right? George Kambosos had no losses at that point. He was fresh off of a Teo win, right? And that fight was at 135 pounds. We all know Devin Haney became the undisputed champion at 135 pounds. So we can't compare Hitchins beating George to Devin beating George. That's two complete things. But what I will say is, this George win on Devin Haney's record, it has not aged well. And at this point, you will no longer see your boy Wavy brag about Devin beating George anymore. It's just not going to happen, because George has just shown that he's not elite. He's not that guy. You know, he got stopped by Lomachenko, and now you got stopped by Richardson Hitchins. And I picked George to beat Hitchins, bro. Like, I can't believe the man got stopped like that. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. I think that there should be a retirement fight between Regis Prograis and George Kambosos. Whoever loses that fight, just retire. Because both of these guys, you know, they've lost like 3 fights now. You know, Regis lost to Devin. You know what I'm saying? Like, Regis just lost his last fight. And I think that that'll be a good retirement match for both guys, man. I think both guys, they made a lot of money in the sport of boxing. They both proved that they're not elite. And I think that, you know, they should just hang it up, man. Because at this point, you know, George Kambosos is pretty much a gatekeeper at this point. You know, like he's a test to see if a fighter should move up to that next level of challenging elite fighters, you know. And I don't want to see George Kambosos and Regis Prograis go out like that. You know, I don't want to see them continue to lose fight after fight. You know, I want to see these guys fight each other. And after that, man, whoever loses, call it a career and just hang it up, man. So it's your boy Wavy. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Once again, congratulations to Richardson Hitchins. He won the fight, did a great job. I was impressed. Let's get that Hitchins versus Teo next. It's your boy Wavy. Subscribe, leave a comment. I'm out.